right, I'm recording this, pre-recording this because I don't want to screw it up. It's too important. So on our show is EmmaSara McMillion, who you're going to meet in about 15 seconds. But I want to read something that really, it's probably going to change my life here. This is an article highlighting EmmaSara McMillion of the Mother of Change show, and she's on our show. We're so honored to have her. But these are the two paragraphs that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to read it. As a mom of 8 kids, I understand the sacrifice and fortitude my parents made as young parents. So now I am driven to help other families around the globe break generational bad habits and poor attitudes that can create brokenness. Our family is doing this through our media companies and global TV show, The Mother of Change show, reaching over 236 million homes in over 130 countries via satellite, cable, and all other major streaming platforms. Our show equips, encourages, empowers, and inspires moms worldwide to rise up in their royal role as mothers. I am proud to be a mother of change, a chain breaker, and a change maker. The Mother of Change movement is a culture shifter, empowering families around the world to rise above their socioeconomic conditions and create positive change. Through my journey of overcoming adversity, I have learned that world changers are born into hard places to create the greatest change. Wow. Welcome to the show. Welcome, EmmaSara. All right. I am going to take that down and put this one up. We have a famous person joining us today, bro, and she is coming into the studio here in just a moment. We're live. Welcome everybody to the Zembruski Brothers live event series on LinkedIn and YouTube and every other platform. I'm a little bit nervous today. We could probably stay on here for 64 hours because our celebrity TV show host and producer EmmaSara McMillion is with us, and she has 8 kids, and we can spend 8 hours talking about each of them. And so this is just one. Yeah, this is just 1 hour if we can do it. So we've got an agenda here. We've got some clips, and EmmaSara is going to be joining us.
Very
hold on, I just got a text with her.
And that's I'll interject. So excited to be here. You and I, bro, got the chance to meet her yesterday. We had a little prep call so we can meet her before we bring her on live for our show. And I know we're both super impressed. We can't wait to share about that. And I'll just say the value people are going to get in this hour is that we're going to condense 64 hours worth of content and goodness into just 60 minutes. So buckle up, get ready. There's a lot. Most of our audience is probably similar to the way we were yesterday, bro, is we hadn't met EmmaSara before. We hadn't heard her story, her and her husband, family, all the different things that they've done, and they're still continuing to do. And so I'm excited to share that and to go deeper on some of these important topics and really share, really get into it. And I know she's having some technical issues. We can see it. She's trying to join into the conference.
So, yeah, and it might have been it might have been my we use StreamYard here, and so I use a lot of different links, and I may have sent her the wrong link, but we'll figure it out. I just resent it over to her. She's got actually a lot more experience in doing this than we do, so we'll wait a couple. But on this we got a packed agenda, and I am going to show some clips. How about I show one right now? It's actually a good it's a good intro to something. It's I'm actually going to share the screen, bro, and this is something that I just learned about her and her. This is her son from a few years ago. I think she's logging in now.
Looks like she's coming in now. All right.
Hey, there she is.
I am. Hello there. I was on the wrong link. I was here waiting.
I think I sent you the wrong link.
Okay.
We're getting echo.
Ooh, echoes.
Are you getting that, bro, or no?
Testing.
I can hear that echo.
You hear
Okay.
the echo, bro?
I hear the echo.
Is it on my side?
I think it is, because we didn't have it until you logged in, but that's okay. Let's work it out. Do you have any other
I just muted her and her echo went away. So I think it's on your side, EmmaSara. I'll unmute you.
Testing.
Better. Maybe no.
Testing
maybe
1
not
2.
your echo, bro?
No.
You still hear the echo? Do you want me?
We had this happen once before.
I'm gonna call my son really quick. I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna play a clip. Bro, do you want to mute her real quick?
I'm gonna mute her. There we go. Go ahead.
I thought maybe it was me, because I have a YouTube clip here.
Yeah, just unmuted her. Hold on before you play the clip. Let's see if we can.
Testing 1 2. Testing. My son is here now, so maybe he can help me. They said they have a back feed.
I think the echo is only when people other than you speak, EmmaSara. Then
Okay.
it echoes around. So somehow this happened once before.
Echo cancellation. Maybe click. Testing 1 2. There's one that says echo cancellation here.
Is that better?
Testing 1
I
2.
think that's a lot better.
Oh yeah, you fixed it.
Testing. Okay.
What did you do? You did echo cancellation on the microphone on your side?
Yep. There's echo cancellation. Trust.
Thank you to your son. Thank you for the Genius Tech team. We appreciate the support. I think we got the green light to proceed. Thank you.
It's okay. It's better. Okay. Great. Thank you.
All right.
EmmaSara, welcome. Oops.
Hi.
Are you good, bro?
I am good. Yeah, EmmaSara, I have your son's the Kit Fox video that we're going to show of you all in the desert, and it was just playing in the background, and I was curious if maybe that was the echo, but it wasn't. But now it was just playing. But I'll figure that out. We're going to show it. So we're here. We're all together. There's no echo. Look at you. Hi, EmmaSara. Welcome, and thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Thank you for having me.
And bro, do you want to catch her up, because you did a very brief intro before she joined? Just want to catch her up on what we introduced our audience to.
That's a great idea. You know what? I'm going to play it again.
Go for
because
Yeah.
because I don't want EmmaSara to repeat. I'm going to do some selling for her today, and I'll be your director of sales and marketing.
Thank you.
All right, I'm recording this, pre-recording this, because I don't want to screw it up. It's too important. So on our show is EmmaSara McMillion, who you're going to meet in about 15 seconds. But I want to read something that really, it's probably going to change my life here. This is an article highlighting EmmaSara McMillion of the Mother of Change show, and she's on our show. We're so honored to have her. But these are the two paragraphs that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to read it. As a mom of 8 kids, I understand the sacrifice and fortitude my parents made as young parents. So now I am driven to help other families around the globe break generational bad habits and poor attitudes that can create brokenness. Our family is doing this through our media companies and global TV show, The Mother of Change show, reaching over 236 million homes in over 130 countries via satellite, cable, and all other major streaming platforms. Our show equips, encourages, empowers, and inspires moms worldwide to rise up in their royal role as mothers. I am proud to be a mother of change, a chain breaker, and a change maker. The Mother of Change movement is a culture shifter, empowering families around the world to rise above their socioeconomic conditions and create positive change. Through my journey of overcoming adversity, I have learned that world changers are born into hard places to create the greatest change. Wow. Welcome to the show. Welcome, EmmaSara. So, EmmaSara,
Wow.
that's how I started the show. And well, thank you. We're new friends. Okay, so I was fortunate and blessed to have been introduced to you by uh, another somewhat new friend of mine over the last 5 years, Evelyn Barnes Willingham. She was our special guest on episode 2. And when I asked her, I said, "Hey, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to?" And she goes, "I want to talk about my people." I said, "All right,
Wow.
well, do you want to bring on some other people?" And she was like, "Yeah, how many can I have?" And she started listing about 45 different people. And I said, "Oh boy." So I have since been, texting and talking with her almost every day. And then was a couple weeks ago, she texted me while you were having lunch or dinner together with your daughter Bijou. And that's how we were introduced. And I just kind of went into the wormhole of the McMillion family world. And I haven't left. And so we're here now. And thank you so much for spending time. I was telling Matt and our millions of fans out here that that we could, based on my math, we could spend 64 hours talking about your 8 kids for 8 hours each. And I just wanted to say hello and thank you for spending time with us. We got a brief agenda. We got some highlighted stuff to talk about. But you are in the Alabama area of the world, right? How are you doing
Yes,
today, Sarah?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. I just love when people come together for a powerful purpose. There's just so much. I just felt like so much joy, Adam. After I spoke with you yesterday, there was such a peace, there was such a joy, and there was anticipation, because when peace meets power, there's an anticipation, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here for whatever this episode is going to produce. I feel like it's anticipating something, and that's always the mystery, but it's also the treasure that's going to come out of this.
I love your words. I will tell you, and that's why when I really wanted to read that at the start, because I spent probably more time thinking about the words and the terms and the phrases that you use throughout what I've been reading about you. In particular, the one that really stuck out to me was chain breaker. And we're going to be talking about your Mother of Change TV show. We're going to talk about what it's like to be a producer. It's a family, produced
Yes.
television show, and y'all are doing it, I think, all on your own, and it's wonderfully produced. I would tell you.
Thank you.
We have I'm going to do this a few times as we talk today. I'm going to read that, but that's me again. Sorry. Um, this here. So if you want to find EmmaSara McMillion or the McMillion family, they're all over the place. Okay, so it's Mother of Change TV motherofchange.tv. On Instagram, we've got We Are the McMillions on Instagram. Facebook, the McMillions. On the website, you got Families of Change, motherofchange.tv, and Kids of Change. I'm going to play a quick clip that you shared. It's 1 minute long, and I think it encapsulates a lot of your message. And I would advise our readers to keep these close, because for the past 24 hours, ever since I learning more about you and your family, I've needed some Kleenex, and I might need some here today. So I'm going to play this clip, and I'm going to ask you her name. I don't know her name of the person talking.
The mother
Yeah,
guest. Okay.
That
Kai Glover is our featured guest.
this one here. What is her name?
Kai Glover.
Kai Glover.
That's correct.
All right, I'm going to play this clip here.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about some of those words and like what this means to you and what this means to your family.
I know for a fact that if my mother was still here, I wouldn't have that.
Wow.
Right. I wouldn't have that. And so I oftentimes I hear God saying, when Jesus says, I have to go.
Wow.
When he told us, I gotta go. If I don't leave, he won't come.
Wow.
And so I think that in that space, it's like she had to go. Because if she didn't leave, the purpose wouldn't have met the fire.
Wow.
And the promises that he had made to my grandmother, the chains that were supposed to be broken. It's time. Wow. It's time. So if she was still here, there wouldn't be any breaking of chains.
Wow.
There wouldn't.
Wow. That was a lot to take in.
My brother and Matt had an amazing mom, and that reminded me of her. So thank you.
Adam, I was watching. I mentioned yesterday that I was looking up I was trying to find some information so I could send you something, and then like you say, we get on a little rabbit trail, and I saw the images. I saw you, I saw your brother, but then I saw a beautiful woman, and I thought that is Adam and Matt's mom for sure, because Matt, you look just like your mama. And I'm sure she is proud of you guys both. And I want to tell you that she is she's not here today, but I speak on behalf. My mantle is a mother of nations. I really know that my name actually means universal mother princess. Emma is universal mother in Hebrew, and the woman who never wanted to have kids. And my middle name is Sarah, and it's princess. And I have a mantle on my life to raise up mothers of change. And the fact that I saw a picture of your mother before we even got on, I was like, what are the chances that I would see your mom before I met with you guys? And that this would be the episode that we are highlighting, because mothers are really the backbone of society. Because when a mother doesn't know her value and her worth, then her house will suffer. But if a mother knows her worth and her value, she can pass that to her children. And when she passes that worth to her children, and she has her family respect her, and she has her family honor her in not an overbearing way, but in a way of nobility, which is what we're trying to do with the Mother of Change, bring back the nobility of motherhood. And then the children will benefit from it. And I could just see from, what I saw of your mom, and I read about her, I think liking to knit and make things, but she's knitted more than things. She knitted people and lives, and she came together and she poured into your guys' lives here. And so it's no coincidence that I'm here today to talk about the Mother of Change show and our mission and our family. And then, to run into the picture of your mom was a godsend.
Beautifully stated, and thank you for that. Our mom, Nancy Marietta Caro Zembruski.
Wow, powerful.
Later in life, she fell in love with knitting, and she started her own group called the Knitwits in Florida, where my mom and dad live, and that is still going on. And so it's no coincidence, and it's also no coincidence that this is episode 10. My brother and I, when Matt did a couple live events, and he threw me into the deep end of the pool of getting our voice out there, and to open up the voices of others within the hospitality industry and entrepreneurs, critical thinking, and just talking about things. And so we said all we want to do is to be consistent and to do it every Thursday at 3, and to get a little bit better every week. And we said, let's do 10 episodes. I really doubted us doing it. I struggle with consistency, and Matt knows that. And so he's like, just be consistent. He keeps reminding me. And so we've had this beautiful weekly thing happening between us, and we plan the show, we talk about the show. And I feel my mom, I know Matt does too. This is all she ever wanted. This is all she ever, people coming together, sharing love, being around each other and just experiencing each other's
and
beauty. So
interject and just to interject, bro. When did we start the show? When was episode 1?
May 25th.
Mom's birthday. We started
Wow.
episode 1 on our mom's birthday.
That's right. Episode number 1, May 25th.
For your mom's birthday?
Mom's
Yes.
birthday. Yeah.
Do you know
Yep,
what
so-
number 10 stands for? No, the number 10 stands for completeness. 10 stands for the number of authority and completeness. It is a complete number.
I love that.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's where we are today. We're at episode 10.
We are. But we're not done. We're going to keep going.
We're not going to stop.
Your energy, EmmaSara, is going to keep us going.
Yeah. So let's dive in.
Yeah. So I'm going to talking about that clip here, and the words and terms, these things that I am absolutely certain that these, just what you said about knowing the meaning of the number 10, these other terms that you use specifically. I wanted to ask you what chain breaker means to you and your family and all families, and what does that mean? What should we?
Well, it's
know about that?
interesting. It's interesting because we live in a society right now that is fighting for freedoms. They're fighting for civil freedom, religious freedom, racial freedom. People are fighting for freedom. But what happens when you get social freedom, religious freedom, you get any of those things, but you are enslaved with your mindset, when you're enslaved with bad attitudes, when you're enslaved with generational broken thinking, you're still in slavery. You could be in the freest environment and everything perfect, but if what's going on in your mind still has you trapped and still has you in a cage, you're never going to operate to the fullest of your capacity. You'll never be the best mom you can be. You will never be able to be the best husband that you can be. Your kids will never get the fullness of you because you're going to be so trapped with broken thinking that a mother of change is willing to change. And how we do that is by breaking the chains of broken thinking, breaking the chains of generational, whether it's bad habits, whether they're ancestral or just cultural or whatever. We have to be willing to say, you know what? It doesn't matter that my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, my aunties, my grandma, they did it for 10 centuries. If it's broken, it's broken. And let's go ahead and fix some things. That is the essence of what breaking chains is.
Yeah, and you use the term brokenness in that in your episodes and your speaking also, and so you just made me think of another person that has moved me in my life, and it's John St. Omer. I'll mention him again. He was on our first episode, and John is from Jamaica, and he's taught me more about life than hotels and hospitality, the industry that we share. And he Redemption Song by Bob Marley was always one of my favorite songs, but really I had never really listened to the lyrics, and it didn't touch me until John really spent some time telling me about it. And there's a line in there that said, "Free yourself from mental slavery," and that's
right.
what you're talking about. And so we can be mentally stuck or broken, like you say, and so and breaking that chain, that's beautiful. I'm going to spend more time on that personally, and thank you. I'm gonna I have to read it, and you did a wonderful job at being very concise about your children and also your husband Clinton. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You are a mother of 8. Your husband is Clinton. And I'm going to go very quickly about what you shared yesterday and what I've learned about you and some material that's out there about your family. It's mind blowing and unbelievable. So, all right, Clinton, dad, is a rocket engineer and is on the tech media team for your show. He was formerly featured in National Geographic. EmmaSara, media entrepreneur, author.
Bro? Sorry, do you want to put this? Do you have a visual for this too, or no?
Oh, yes, thank you, bro.
Yeah, that way people can see it.
Oh, yeah, good. Thank you.
Go ahead, restart.
Hey, good team. Thank you. Yeah, so EmmaSara, media entrepreneur, author, speaker, certified DISC behavior coach. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to ask you about it. Curriculum writer and course creator. Bijou, who I was texting with. I think she is she's a 23 film producer, book editor for multiple best-selling books, and award-winning filmmaker. You have Niall, who we're going to show a clip from. Film producer, book editor for multiple best-selling books and award-winning. Sorry, Niall, 21. At the age of 19, he was the youngest engineer at a West Texas space facility. At 21, he is a rocket engineer for Blue Origin and a pilot. He is also a YouTube content producer, which we're going to show a little bit. Dave, is that the right?
Yes, Dave, you did that. Mm-hmm.
Dave, 20 years old, is a music artist. And at the age of 16, she was the CCO, Chief Creative Officer, I believe, right, of a multi-million-dollar company. At 17, she became an author. She was also featured on Atlanta Live Channel 57. Vaughn Kensington, 16. At the age of 13, he became one of the youngest AWS, Amazon Web Services, certified individuals in the world. At age 14, he spoke for a NASA apps event. At 15, he wrote his first book called The Way of the Lion, a personal development book for teen boys. I'm already ordered that. My son, Matt's nephew, Gabe, is 15. Oh, check it out.
The way.
Congratulate. Wow. Okay. We got Remington. He is the founder of Kids of Change Club for Kids. Van Houston, 10. At age 7, he was assessed at a college-level understanding of organic chemistry. At 9, he authored the book, A Quick Guide on the Laws of Thermodynamics.
Yes.
He plans to attend college this summer. Brighton, 7. At the age of 4, he became the youngest author of the century in the USA, United States. He is scheduled to be interviewed on Tennessee Valley Living Channel 48 this week. Princeton, 5. At the age of 4, check that out. He had an idea for a child's workbook and co-authored it later that year. And that's what you were just holding up?
Yes.
What is that title?
God only knows. This was his idea. I did co-author this one, but Brighton did all his own book.
So I am going to show a look at this beautiful family. Your Mother of Change show, we're going to talk about that. You have a book. It's called Mother of Change, right there.
Yes.
Your family here and your girls, you guys are fabulous. Check you out. All right. Mother of Change. Find it all on Amazon. I mean, you got who is it? That's a Amazon Web Services youngest. He was 13, so you probably get some good Amazon discounts. Yeah. That's great. All right, so let's tell me these. All right, so I can see Clinton. Hi, Clinton. Very proud dad and husband. I see him here. All right, so you want to go left to right?
Okay. So we will do the one with my husband in it. So from is it going to be the same? We'll start from the boy end.
Yes.
The one with the dad. We'll start with the boy end. That's Remington. He is current. We'll give it the current ages. This is a little bit of an older picture, but he is currently 13, and he is now just he spoke at a church, a ministry, at a kids camp, and he was teaching this last week, on the mic, and that was really fun for him. We have Bijou right next to him, next tall one, and then below Brighton, and then above Vaughn Kensington with the curly hair. He's the AWS guy. My little guy Princeton is the co-author guy. The other little guy next to my other daughter is Van Houston, who is the organic chemist, and now he is going to help me with VA assistance, and also he's a great book editor as well. He's really, really good book editor. And then Niall above, he is really known for his love of being a pilot, aviation, and rocket science stuff. And then Dave is my 20-year-old now. Yes.
Wow. Now, you had said overcoming adversity I started learning a little bit about that as far as your, I wrote down your quote somewhere here. Let me see.
While you're looking for that, Adam, I want to make a note that I didn't want to have kids. I was when I met my husband, I told him that I don't want to have, like, if you marry me, there will be no kids in your future, because I genuinely don't want to have kids, because I think the world is way too evil of a place. I was only 23, but I already knew, not that I was an angel coming up to the time when I met him. I sowed my wild oats, but I just didn't want to bring kids into a world that was just sinking, is what I felt. And so he agreed. And then a year later, he said, I would like to have kids. And I wasn't very happy with it. I thought, you little stinker, you married me and then you changed your mind. But anyway, I really, through prayer, I'm sure he prayed a lot. We didn't even talk about it because I was kind of upset about it. But I ended up changing. My heart got changed through prayer. I'm sure of it. And then I started to understand that if I was going to have kids, that I was going to lean into prayer and let that prayer help me to protect my kids. And therefore, that's where the book came. This is 20 years of how I really felt through prayer I was supposed to raise my kids, which produced the results that you just read about. Because I want to give, that wasn't EmmaSara. That was all prayer, just doing what I heard to do in prayer to raise them. And I mean, I was trying to do.
Can you tell me what that means to you, about what you mean by prayer? About
Yes.
going through. You wrote a book about it, so I'm going to get the book to learn, detailed about it. But what does that mean to you?
That means that I don't raise my kids based upon society or culture or whatever other people think that EmmaSara should do, or what other people think that kids should do at a certain age. I just look at each one of my kids. I go to prayer and I say, God, what is this child supposed to do this year? Or what is this child's calling or gifts? And then I just give them all the tools to operate in their gifts. Because the truth is, and I'm being completely honest with you, is that I had a third grader struggling with the math problem today. And it's been, I homeschool my kids. They've all been homeschooled, but I'm a very hands-off homeschooler. And so everything that they have accomplished, it wasn't because I was a great homeschooler. It was because I was a great listener. And I really listened in prayer. And because I listened in prayer, I was able to, and some people might say, well, that's great for you, EmmaSara, that you could hear so much. Well, it doesn't have to be like, it's not an audible voice. It's just a knowing. And I can't explain it exactly, but I see, and this is for the parents who might say, well, I'm not super, a prayer warrior. I don't really pray. I would say your child has a unique gift. Your child has a unique calling. There's some things that they can do that other people can't do well. And it doesn't matter if they're terrible at grammar, they're terrible at math, but they're excellent organic chemistry. Maybe that's the only thing they're ever going to be really, that's their one thing, and that's okay. And you let them shine in that area. And because you can let them shine in that specific area, then it doesn't matter. And this is my premise here, Adam and Matt, is that, do you guys remember that show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Do you guys remember that game show?
Yeah.
The whole game show was based upon the fact that most adults don't know fifth grade curriculum. And so you have people who are, celebrities, politicians, like different people they had on the show. Just, not just regular people. And people would lose to fifth graders all the time, because the truth is that people forget that information. So I really ran with that, because I was like, you know what? I'm a woman of prayer. I know what their gifts are, and it really doesn't matter. And now that I have 8 kids, I can tell you this with absolute surety, is I really try to do a really great job with my first 4. I took them to all kinds of homeschool, it's everything, like homeschool classes, homeschool library, homeschool field trips. They don't barely remember anything. The only things that they remembered is what was relevant to them and their calling. So now I have my second 4 set of boys. There's so much we don't do that the public school does. I don't care, because they're never going to remember it. I don't remember it. And all that matters to me is that they're operating in their calling. And because I super support them in their calling, they're really excited to get up and do what it is they have to do, because it's going towards their goals.
Yeah, and that's what thank you for articulating that. Yeah, like you said, if somebody doesn't is wondering about that might not, pray, and whatever that might mean to that person, it's really spending time to listen and also think about the other person, to identify what you were calling gifts and their calling. That takes time, doesn't it? It takes, I mean,
It does.
deep thought, and it's not as easy as saying, oh, you like math, so therefore you have to be an engineer, or you like people, so maybe you want to be an actor, or me, everyone always called me a people person, so I found my way into hospitality, but which was good. But it took me a long time to kind of connect those things, and so it takes some thought there. You mentioned I'm going to I think technology wise, bro, it'll work. Um, I got your son Niall. You mentioned about him being a pilot. This is a beautiful. He has a YouTube page, Niall McMillion. He has multiple pages. I saw him on Facebook and other social media sites. Um, I'm going to play two short clips, and then ask you about it, because
Okay.
this is pretty cool. So I didn't even know what a kit fox was. It's the name of a plane that's like this,
Super
right?
cool
So
plane.
you spent some time in the desert. So we're going to I'm going to share the screen, which I practiced so diligently, and I think it's going to work. Nate McMillion.
It was there. My parents got to meet him and his wife, and in December, began trading work for flying instruction, and it was amazing because
Is there
I
any
didn't
way to put that volume up?
getting your pilot license will cost about $10,000 to $12,000. Most people take a loan and then go out to flight school. It's a very expensive adventure. It was such a god thing because I didn't have to put hardly any money out of pocket into it, and I began trading working hours, flying hours with them. And then in May, the air
Fast forward here to this here. I know it's a longer story, but I'm going to do this.
airplane, and it's
Airplane.
Yahweh knows the desires of our hearts. And this airplane, if I had $1 million and I was going to buy an airplane, this would be the airplane I would buy. So, I mean, this is like my dream airplane. I have an airplane now. It's so exciting because I actually have an airplane. This is like what I've always wanted. I've always wanted my own airplane, and now I finally have one. Yahweh's just so good. I mean, he's the way he's worked it out, and I mean, he worked it out so that way while I'm working on this airplane and while I'm getting this guy fixed up, I'll have another airplane to rent.
Wow. Let me stop sharing that. I have a picture here of him in those All right, I'm
moments here.
recording this, pre-recording this because I don't want to screw it up. Sorry.
That's okay.
Here we go. Okay. Here you go. Okay. So a kit fox is that plane, and I learned what I was able to learn was that this was a dream of his, but it also was. He refers to Yahweh. That was fairly new to me. That is God, the Almighty.
Yes.
Is that
If you
okay?
look at if you look at the King James, everywhere it says Lord. If you look at the original or the Hebrew text, it'll say Yahweh. It's
Got it.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful story, and so and that's it. So he was, I think, how old was he there as a young man, 16 or so,
So I think he was about 16, I believe. Yes.
and now he's 21. You said, and so he's
22.
the one.
He
So
just turned.
for our listeners here to remind you, he's the one. Niall, 21, age of 19. He was the youngest engineer at a West Texas space facility. At 21, he's a rocket engineer for Blue Origin and a pilot. He's also a YouTube content producer. So this was a pretty cool story. So this sounds like a family pushing forward and allowing the world to happen and to identify gifts and everything that you stand for came together, literally together, and allowed for this to happen, for what seems to be a trading, that he says, a trading of work hours. So it looks like this was like a $30,000 plane. even though if he had $1 million, he would have bought this plane. I think that's wonderful. But he didn't have the 30,000, worked and traded those hours for pilot lessons, I think. And then
Yes.
what, and this is you all in the desert here. Can you tell me a little bit about this experience?
Yeah, this is the most important part of our story, because our family of first 8, when we moved out of our house, my husband got in. I'm not going to give you the full story, but my husband, we lived in Oregon, and we lived in a comfortable home. He had a job in law enforcement, but he got injured, and really injured, and they said he would never work again, that his back was so injured he would never even be able to have a desk job. And so during that time, my husband, he prays, but he's not somebody who says, I heard God. He doesn't do that. But he really felt that in prayer that we should move into our then entertainment vehicle, which was our RV, and get debt free and move our whole family of 8 at that time into it. And that became what we called our desert experience, because we ended up going on faith. We sold or gave away everything. And then we moved into and it wasn't even a nice RV. We had to do some remodeling to it, which didn't last long with so many kids at 235 square feet with 8 kids. And then we moved. Whoa. Long story short, we ended up in the middle of the desert on thousands and thousands of acres in the middle of the Chihuahuan Desert, where it gets 117, 120 in the summertime. We had 100 acres in the middle of that desert. And I say in the summer, it was never cool enough in our RV. And in the winter, it was never warm enough. And when we first got onto the property, we had no running water. We had no electricity. And you can see there, we had the middle picture as a baby sleeping on the dashboard. We had, that was, like the sofa was the bed in the daytime. We had boards across the front chairs. And so the kids would sleep on boards. They slept on the countertops. And one time, one of the kids rolled off because it was the table with a piece of board. The first week, they weren't used to sleeping up there, fell flat on their face and almost broke their nose, woke up with blood. And so it was quite a journey. We only made 20. It got really bad. My husband ended up losing all of his income overnight, even the settlement and everything overnight. And so in 2018, we only made $26,000 for a family of 10 living in the middle of the desert. And at one point, we would have to haul water. And if we weren't able to get the water, I would have to use the water we had. And we had this is 2018. We had a bucket, and I would wash, the kids from the dirtiest to the cleanest, because it was so dirty out there. And it's weird to look at the pictures now to know that we lived that way just in 2018. It wasn't that long ago. So what people need to know is, should have had tissue. And what people need to know is that everything that they see that we've accomplished and done has been in a very short amount of time. And it's been through faith, and it has been through hard work and diligence. And the whole time we have been focused on building family and staying together through the thick and thin. And I'll tell you, during that time, it was a very tough time for my husband and I, because now he's home from work essentially, and he was a workaholic. And now here we are stuck in a small RV under stressful circumstances, weather harshness, and we're stuck looking at each other, dealing with a harsh circumstance and dealing with having to be with each other all the time. And so we've learned a lot. But I'll tell you this right now, if there was a Zembruski, the McMillions would survive. Okay.
I'm gonna find you if there's an apocalypse. I'm gonna go. I'm bringing my family, and I don't know.
Yes.
You made me think of I'm in the hotel business, right? And so 235 square feet for our listeners out there. That's the size of a small standard king size hotel room. Small.
And I have to tell you this, is that one of our favorite things to do was to stay in a hotel. So even though we lived in an RV, we would just take some time and go stay in a hotel, because there was better air conditioning, because there was more space. And we used to say, this was our saying, guys, is that wherever the McMillions go is home. And so we would be in a hotel. And this is so important for hospitality that we're talking about that, because I want you guys to understand the impact of the hotels and what it is for some people. And some people, it is a home. I mean, depending on if you're going to what types of hotels you're going to, or motel or extended living. But for us, it was a avenue for us to have a space. A hotel room was more space than what we had for our entire family. So
You had said that in our conversation yesterday, I found this great and fascinating that you had a couple of your children work at a hotel in the housekeeping and laundry department because you wanted to have them experience something. Talk about that a little bit.
so one thing we didn't mention, what that video that you showed for my son with that plane was important, because the goal was, we didn't say this part, but it was a broken plane. It was a crash plane, so they were going to have to fix it up. And when they came home with that plane, of course we were broker than broke, and I didn't understand why I was seeing an airplane being towed on our property. But I'll tell you this, is that my son never asked for pay the entire 2 or 4, like the entire time we're out there. My son would not take pay because he said, no mama. One of the things we did is we pulled all of our money together. So we were a one income family. So we all worked, but we all gathered our money to be able to sustain. And so when that plane came up, we did have to put some cash on it. But I'll tell you, even though we used our whole family, we gave our livelihood, because the only cash we had was what he would get paid from week to week. And we gave it all to that plane. Okay. And it didn't make sense. Why would we be buying a broken plane? But God gave me a piece that because I was thinking, what happens if he's flying it and it stops working? They can't just push a car or a plane in the sky. But long story short is he started to work on that plane on YouTube for 2 months. And in 2 months, he gained 2,000 of his subscribers. And in that time, people, baby boomers, men who never got to fly a plane, men who always wanted to fix a plane, saw my son and fell in love with him and started sending cash and parts. And people came and they rallied around him. And some of the people that are like the biggest pilots, on YouTube reached out to him. And somebody called my husband and said, I saw, Niall, that your dad looks like he has XYZ experience. Well, my husband always wanted to be a machinist. And when he was 19, he was a top machinist for Arkansas, some contests. Well, he ended up going into law enforcement for 18 years when he got hurt. So he wasn't doing machining, but he loves machining. So he would always do machining in our garage. So when the guy saw him on YouTube, he said, I saw you have machining experience. My husband says, well, I love to do machining. Long story short, there was a job position open about 4 hours south of us for a rocket facility that we didn't know existed there. And you have to know somebody, because this is like working for one of the richest men in the world. You have to know somebody to get into this facility, or you have to have experience. My husband has law enforcement experience, and then he had construction experience. Long story short is we made $26,000 that month. We had utilities turned off. I have a story. It's so terrible. I can't even share it. It's so embarrassing, but it was a really bad, very, very bad and hard month.
Well, I
And
can tell you that listening to you and I can feel it. I can feel it, and I think that everybody can. That this so the reason why I brought up this picture is that, and also to talk about your show.
yes,
Your this segues nicely into talking about your show, because when you have 37 or so episodes, and they
30
are
episodes. Yes. Uh-huh.
30 episodes. They're
Mhm.
wonderfully produced, and I would say, it's a real TV show. So anybody that wants to get inspired, feel encouraged, to see what this amazing family is all about, it's a wonderful show. And my point is, it's uh, I keep saying wonderfully produced. It's really well produced, and so, and you all have these amazingly beautiful pictures of yourselves. Uh, it hasn't always been like that, very clearly, and so a lot of people, when they see TV shows, they see um, these outfits and the furniture, and it's in your home, and they don't realize that if you go just one level deeper, it is everyone is important. Everyone has their story. Your story I find fascinating, and you go even deeper and you find out this story of you in the desert living in an RV just 5-6 years ago. My heart is with you. I feel connected with you, and I think it's just beautiful. And so I wanted to make that clear to our. It made clear to me that after seeing you and first meeting you, I was like, wow, what a awesome TV show, right? But then I got to know you a little bit more and your family and what you're all about, and I'm connected to it, right, in a way that I'm definitely not as connected to just a show on Netflix, because this is even better. But now it's because I've learned more about you, and so
And this is, I want to interject, bro, because this is
yeah.
really what I'm amazed at. I had no idea. 2018, like you said, EmmaSara, 5 years ago. That's very, very short to go from what you just described to what people see in the media and what we're sharing here for some of these assets. If you could just walk us through, I know we don't have a lot of time, but if you could walk us through, why did you choose to do a show? Obviously, there's a massive purpose and mission there, and that was enough that drove you to find a way to go from where you were in the desert to producing a world-class show that you produce now, which is affecting the lives of millions of people around the world. So if you could just sort of snapshot that story of like why the show, how did you do it in just 5 years to where you are today? Amazing.
So I had no plan to do a show, and once again, it was a prayer thing. I really hear from God, and I heard God say last year in March, you guys are going to go global. I don't know what that means. I'm a woman of faith, and I just told my family, get ready. He said global. Well, so fast forward, I think it was June, all of a sudden the opportunity came up for getting a spot on a new network. And I waited to the very last day. To be honest with you, if my founder ends up watching this, I waited to the last day, and they actually said no. Like they changed their mind. But I just pretended like I didn't see the no, and I answered the email before, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. And the reason I waited so long is because I knew it would be a commitment, and I knew our family works with excellence, and I did not have any clue. I wasn't thinking of the Mother of Change show. I wasn't thinking that. I have the Mother of Change book and everything. It makes sense now, but at the time, it was like I've had days. I felt like days, maybe a week to decide. I don't know. Maybe it was a little bit longer, but I didn't have this concept of even what you guys see before you. I just had to keep going in faith. Like we went to the desert in faith. We just kept making faith moves. So I said yes to the show. And then I went back and I just remember, well, I heard global. It's for a purpose. Okay. It's not for the McMillions. It's not so that we can be fanboyed and fangirled. It's so that we can do something on a global scope. And so it was clear to me that it was going to be, after praying, that it was going to be the Mother of Change show. And then that was going to be an opportunity for us to host other women and platform them. And I'm so into sharing, just like you're sharing my story today, Adam and Matt, is that I want to share other women's story. And there's so many moms who are marginalized, and a lot of women, we have people, you watch, some of the clips, you were impacted. I had a guy came up, a rocket engineer came up to my husband at the space place and was like, oh, what's the next episode on your wife's show? And he's like, I don't know. But I'm like, okay, so men are watching. This is great. So it's good enough for couples to watch because it is a personal development show, and men can grow just as much as women. But our target really is the women who are hurting, the women, just like it says up here, the women who are suffering with anxiety, depression, self-doubt, who are their own worst critics. But it's also for those moms who just want to do better. They want to grow. I mean, every generation should get better. And so the main thing is that we're finding, and first of all, there are over 10 million single parent homes in the United States. And out of that, over 80% are single mom households. Okay. And so if you look at the statistics, many of those moms come from single parent homes as well. And so there is just so much studies I've done that there is arrested development when you have children young. So if you had a baby at 14, when you stress out and go into a trigger, you're going to go back to 14 and handle life at a 14-year-old stage. And so moms are now coming, watching our show. And I'll tell you, the number one thing that we're told about our show is that like a therapy session, only that it's free and that you get to watch it, and you go and you don't feel shame because it's now not your story. It was Kaya sharing her story. It was Amanda sharing her story. And you're not sitting there saying, look what I didn't do. You're like, well, Amanda didn't do it, but she succeeded. And so that's really the heart of why we do with what we do with the show, is because I've had a mom who was a single mom. She's just in a relationship now, but she watched it and she said, EmmaSara, I was tired one Saturday. Like, I just wanted to stay home. I had nothing left. And she said, I binge watched I just went down and I just binge watched it. And she said they were so good. Like, I just didn't want to stop watching them. So that is why we do what we do.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's absolutely wonderful.
It's the power for me in watching it and learning from others is feeling like I'm not alone in dealing with anything that I'm dealing with, right? That's the worst feeling of the worst. If you're dealing with something like anxiety, depression, or self-doubt, being your own worst critic, if you're feeling that way and you feel like you're the only one going through that, and then what your show offers is letting the world know, if they watch it, to know that what they're feeling, they're not the only person feeling it. And I find that it's very well done in that you send that message very well. The self-doubt, the depression, the anxiety, you seem like a person that doesn't have a lot of self-doubt, but I'll bet you do. And so can you give some advice maybe from I'll relate it to my industry, the hospitality, food service, hotel industry, and that is, for perspective, 60,000 hotels in the United States. So there's about 150, 200,000 managers of hotels out there at the property level. And a lot of times it's very rigid environment. And I think the COVID pandemic opened up the ideas for critical thinkers to say, how can we uh, how can we do things differently with our scheduling and with our availability? And single moms has come up quite often in the conversations of employers in hospitality. And we are going to highlight some of the companies that are really doing some cool stuff, like um, flexible scheduling, for example. If you're a single mom and you have childcare and you have to drop your child off at 8:30, but the shift starts technically at 8 o'clock, 20 years ago, they would say, sorry, I mean, we need you here at 8 o'clock. But now talking about these kind of things, I think is great. So if there are uh, single moms or moms looking for a job in the 23 million member employee industry of hospitality, food service, and tourism and travel. If they're looking to, maybe they have some transferable skills, but maybe not experience as a hotel manager. Uh, I have plenty of advice for those folks, and you are more than welcome to introduce them to me. I can help them. I can put them into contact with some really wonderful, really good employers. And so please know that you have an open door for that
Wow.
with
Right.
me. I will interview them and record the interviews, and I will share it with my closest, influential friends in the industry that have jobs. So I commit and promise you that.
Wow,
Do
thank
you
you.
have any advice to employers out there or to single moms out there?
Yes. So, and I think this is an important topic because, like you mentioned earlier, my daughters, even though they weren't single moms, they were still young women who were working in as housekeepers. And so they were able to see all the things that housekeepers have to deal with. And it was for our area, we lived in Van Horn, which is in the middle of nowhere. So it was considered one of the nicer hotels, but still, it was really, they could really wreck the rooms and everything else. But I'll just say, when it comes to single moms, the number one thing that they're concerned about is their children. They're concerned about feeding their children, providing for their children. And it's kind of you're darned if you do, a darned if you don't situation for a mom, because she's having to leave her kids when she wants to be with her kids. So she already feels that tug. But then when you're going to a place of employment, first of all, you know, there's, when you're dealing with housekeeping, you're dealing with people not valuing you in general. So many people, they're just undervalued. They're feeling, and they shouldn't be feeling undervalued. So I would say for management is that they're dealing at the ground level, and they're already feeling like, I'm just saying from a personal experience with my daughters of how they felt. It just felt dirty for them. A lot of times they would come home and they would feel dirty. So if you're dealing with management who's treating you like a peon, or treating you like you don't matter, and treating you like you don't have value, and then now we're a cashless society, and you're not leaving an opportunity for those women and those moms to get blessed, because there's no you know, I was mentioning earlier to Adam, I would like to see little cards where every housekeeper has a card that they can leave out, maybe like a little plastic tent that has their cash out sign on there, so we can give them a tip. Because to be honest with you, there's sometimes I'm catching a plane, I travel a lot, and sometimes I leave without a tip and I feel horrible, you know, like we have to call and try to get these people a tip. But if we just make it easy for them, I think people don't mind leaving cash out tips. So I want them to get paid. Okay, so even if the hotel is not increasing their wage, at least give them the opportunity to get a tip. Let them feel more valuable than what the people who are leaving the rooms a wreck like. So that's just mental health. And then if we can provide something, this is the optimum thing, is if we could provide a solution right now, because I travel so much, and I do now get to travel and go to high-end hotels. But I'll tell you right now is that even in high-end hotels, the quality of how rooms are kept are not guaranteed anymore. Before there was like a guaranteed standard. And of course, you know, depending on what hotels and what regions, but sometimes I go to Timbuktu and it's a quote unquote nicer hotel, but it's still not perfect. You know, I have a high standard for how I would like a room to be clean, but I understand, because now I think about my daughters and what they have to go through. So, you know, providing all these different things, but the optimum, this would be like really, really great, is if you provided a solution for the childcare. So that way you would get quality people coming in, because now you're like, these women actually want to work for you. They want to be able to, everybody wants to go work at this hotel. They treat me nice. They allow me to get tips, and they have a service for my children too. And they're making sure that my children are safe while I'm providing a service for them. Everybody wins. The rooms will be cleaner. The women will be making more money. The kids will be safe. And my goodness, I will celebrate. Like, we should have a party, you know, and maybe have a party for these housekeepers. Like once a year, just have a housekeepers party for them. Like, you know, let's celebrate them. They work so hard.
I would tell you,
awards, you know, so something like that. I mean, when do the housekeepers get to go to a gala?
Thank you for all that. I was taking a bunch of notes that I'll share with you know, my friends in the industry. Yeah, you know, there's a lot that my heart is with housekeeping, and I can go on and on and on about being a housekeeping manager and also working with housekeepers. I learned the Spanish language, took it from high school and moved to Orlando and became very good friends with Spanish speaking people in Florida, in Orlando, and my heart has never left. We call it the heart of the house, the back of the house we used to call it, but really it's the heart of the house, being housekeeping, laundry, the cook's kitchen, and that is really where it pumps from. There's a lot that the industry does, right? And there is a lot, meaning there's a International Housekeeper Appreciation Week in September every year. And a lot of really wonderful employers celebrate that throughout their portfolio of managed hotels. It's some companies do an excellent job at not waiting until September to celebrate housekeepers, and they do it all the time. But
Wow.
for the most part, we can all do a much better job at it. And there's this show has a lot to do with talking about those things. I'll mention Mark Alvarez. He was our highlighted. We were honoring Mark last week as a person who moves in hospitality. He's the senior vice president of people and culture with Rains Hospitality. Sorry, Mark. And we had a great conversation. And so he just made a comment here that there is new tech out there that provides tips through apps for all levels of staff at hotels. And so
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, come on. QR codes have been out there for quite a while. We can connect them to payroll systems. It's very simple, and it just takes leadership at the top, spend a little bit of money, and flow that money to our throughout all levels. Not only at hotels, but even it should be easier to tip those. For example, like what if you had a great meal at a restaurant
Right.
and you're sitting at the bar? You don't think twice about tipping the bartender, but what about the cook who made the meal? Is there a tip sharing? And so um, that's wonderful. And also the general respect, for others, just in the service industries. It goes both ways. I'll make it easy on my bro. I know that Matt, you said that you had to go at a certain point, right?
Yeah, I got to drop off to go to another session, but
We're gonna finish
Thank
up
you,
in
Matt.
just a few minutes, but thanks, Matt.
Thank
Thanks
you, Matt.
for yeah.
thank you very much, EmmaSara and bro. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yes,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah,
Thank
we're
you so
doing it
much.
again. We're going to episode 11 next week. All right, love you, Matt. Thanks.
Me too.
Thank you. And thank you,
Um,
John. He said an excellent show, so I just want to shout John out. Thank you so much.
yeah, John. John has been on a show. He's a very close friend. You had mentioned. I'll even mention John. John is um, the reason why I hope that John gets something out of this show, but also I get a lot more from him. He's a Navy veteran, and he is also an engineer. He worked on jet engines for the
Wow.
Navy, and he was one of those guys on the aircraft carrier, like in Top Gun, sending off the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got an amazing life,
Cool.
and he's worked as a chief engineer, chief of procurement, purchasing, vendor relations. He pretty much knows everybody in the world of buying things and purchasing things at hotels, and also managing buildings. And so um, John and I have known each other for 10, 12 plus years. Um, and sometimes it's difficult for even somebody like John to think about leaving a job or think about getting a new job and getting attention for his resume. And his resume is amazing. So that is some of the reasons why we are doing this show. Uh, Mark mentioned the tips. You had mentioned your show. We have this little mini live show that we're doing. Let's talk about money very quickly and openly, such as sponsorships. And so to go a little bit deeper, I will tell you something that I've learned about your show, and particularly one, it must be expensive to produce.
It is.
Yeah. The whole world of call it sponsorships and donors and people who want to support. I'm going to go over here to the because I am going to help you. It's too important. I'm sorry.
So on our show,
This is obviously not my full-time job. Um, there it is. So I committed to helping you with gathering some support. I think I'm going to be reaching out to quite a few hospitality
Thank you.
owners and investors and operators, and and also help you through Hospiamo. We're impact investors and social impact investments. And so we get it's a different kind of return on investment in the world of social impact, right? And so we're all about education and things like that. And so um, you don't have to share this, but I'm curious. So you have 30 episodes. What does your budget look like for an episode? I don't. You don't have to
Yeah.
share it all, but I mean, if
So my daughter is a line producer, so she's the one that keeps track of all the line things. But I will tell you this is that our show because she's worked on, she was a line producer for the recent Johnny Cash movie that just was put out. So she works on some big budget films. So I'll tell you, with the production and the quality that we have, we should be at a minimum of 1 month's worth of shows. Should be a minimum of 20,000 bare minimum. That's what would be considered a low standard for the quality of show that we're putting on.
Yeah.
Bare minimum. we do it for less because we do everything. But my daughter, this is a transparency moment. She actually just started a job yesterday because she has volunteered for this TV show for the last almost 10 months. She's given all of her time, everything you see, even the clip that you've seen. She puts that through her, it looks like just real, but it's not. She actually has to produce that. So she's actually now working for somebody else, and somebody else is getting my daughter right now, and they're blessed to have her. But right now, she literally volunteered. She's quit working for one of the top Christian film companies and came home to work for us for free. And so we did not pay her. And so right now where we're at, because you're asking and because I really want the show to go on, and I could sit here and try to pretend like we're something that we're not, but everything we've got up to this far has been 2019. We started, just doing everything we're doing. This is the main thing, is that our family didn't do debt that whole entire time. That's why we live so poorly, is because we wouldn't even use a credit card to get gas. I mean, if we didn't have money, we just didn't eat. If we didn't have money, we didn't drive. We did not use credit. So where we're at right now, Adam, is that we did incur some credit and some debt with this show right now. And it's really weighing on our family because we paid everything cash. Our family's been about 80% of the funding of every show that you've seen. We've probably done, I didn't do the exact numbers, about 80% has been our family funding it. Thank you to all the donors who did fund it thus far, because you can see we've done a crowdfund. It has been amazing help. But right now we are on a season break because I can't go forward until we get our next season, established. So right now we're doing a crowdfund to at least get a month's worth of content, which is a minimum of 10,000 right now.
Got it. Thanks for sharing all that. Being transparent and very open with that. I think that you would agree when you're open and transparent like that, beauty comes in, right? So I think that we're meeting for a reason, and I think there are some things that we can do to help to be call it a strategic partner of yours and really support you and your family, and get to amplify your voice, because I think it's absolutely wonderful and beautiful. So, we are, you have, with We Are the McMillions on Instagram, and also the Mother of Change, sorry, not but Mother of Change
Motherchange.tv.
.tv.
That's the
I've
main
been
donate
all over
site.
that. That's a good
Mhm.
place to go. And there's you got newsletters, but also if anyone wants to click on there, you can find a way to support. You can be a sponsor. I'm sure there's a ton of benefits. You've done some crowdfunding type before. I think that's a wonderful innovation out there. So listen, if you got a little extra change out there, like some of my friends and folks that I'm going to be calling, and you want to be a part of something amazing and cool, just click on that website, and there are ways there. So I can't say enough about it. And I think that you do a wonderful job at presenting not only what this show is all about, but what your family is all about and what you've been through. And you made me think of that movie, Ad Astra. When I saw that movie with Brad Pitt, Ad Astra, I was curious what that meant, and it brought me over to like you. I'm very curious about what things mean, right? And you said the number 10, it means something, and it means complete. So I went into another rabbit hole of understanding that, and so um, the full term is per ardua ad astra, and it means through adversity to the stars. Per ardua ad astra. And you made me think about that with your life and your
Wow.
perseverance. And I think it is something that I am never going to forget. And I'm not going to stop learning about you and being your friend. I'm going to be one of those annoying friends that keeps on saying, like, hey, we haven't spoken in 5 minutes. Can you talk to me?
I love it.
But I also love making new friends. I'm almost 50, be 50 next year. And, as an adult, you
When are you
meet
going to be 50? I'm curious.
next June. So next
June.
June I'll
Okay.
be.
Well, I'll be 50 in April. So we could be
Oh,
like
cool.
brother
Yeah.
and sister over here.
Yeah, like 50 brothers and sisters. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I like that. No, another
And
non
I do want to tell
coincident.
them, by sewing into the show, it's not just sewing into the show. You're sewing into something so much bigger, because I'm a visionary and I don't want it to be just about people watching. My goal is to get 1 million struggling moms media resources and actually give them stuff into their hands. And even, my dream is to have a dream show where we have a Mother of Change show where we actually invite a mom who has been through great adversity and then have people actually donate things, kind of like a move that bus situation. So I have a lot of dreams for what I want to do to bless moms who are struggling, but who are trying. This is the key, Adam, is that some moms are struggling and they're not trying, but some moms are really genuinely wanting the best for the family, and we want to bless them and support them. And so by supporting us, you're supporting a greater mission. And part of the proceeds does go to Blue Monarch, which is a recovery program for moms who has like a 93% success rate.
Wow. That's great. Yeah, being part of something bigger and visionary. I think those are the ones that will. I know those are the ones that'll contact me. I made up a little page. I have to kind of clean it up a little bit, but it's. I'm adding you and your family as a highlighted page on the Hospiamo.com website, and it's on the studio page. So we
Thank you.
connect to our YouTube page and things like that. So if you want another way to connect with EmmaSara McMillion and her family and her show and all that, you can visit hospiamo.com/studio, and it'll be right up there. That is where, just so that you know, EmmaSara, that is where we connect people to the people who move, that we have found have moved us. One of them is Roberto Clemente for me. He's a shining guiding light for me and what he stood for. And his quote you can also see on there. I say it on every one of these episodes. And he said, if you have the ability to make things better for the people who follow, and you don't do that thing, you're wasting your time here on earth. And he lived it. He died doing that, bringing food to Nicaragua from his home country of
Wow.
Puerto Rico. And so, speaking of another 50, right, on December 31st is when he passed away, and that was the 50th year. It was 1972 when he died, helping others. And he had a dream. He had a dream of a baseball city in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and there is one now. And it's
Wow.
his Roberto Clemente Jr. is. They have a museum in Pittsburgh. It's a wonderful story. So you make me think of these things by talking with you, just like you make me think of Per Ardua ad Astra. You made me think about my mom. This is only an hour. We're going to finish up here, an hour and 15 minutes. Some people might think it's a long time, but I can tell you, it's only the start of what I hope other people to really embrace and to learn more about you and what you stand for, and that you stand for something. You called it the backbone, moms, the backbone of our life and in existence.
Cornerstone of
The
society. Yes.
cornerstone,
Mm-hmm.
cornerstone of society, the
Yeah,
cornerstone in construction that your husband knows about. You take away that cornerstone, everything crumbles.
that's right.
So thank you, EmmaSara. This is I'm so proud and honored to be a friend of yours, and I'm honored that you spent this time with us.
Thank you.
We're very lucky and blessed to that you even have the time to come on here. And thank you very much. So we can end up here. Please give some virtual hugs to your family. I feel like I've gotten
Thank
to know
you.
them in text anyway. And best of luck to you, and best of love, and best of everything. Thank you.
Well, Adam, I'm blessed to be here, equally, even more so blessed to be here. Thank you for sharing your platform. Thank you for all the viewers who stayed through to the end. I really appreciate you. And like I said, it's really not about EmmaSara as we're sitting here today. It's really not about Adam. And that's what makes what you're doing, Adam, so powerful. That's why we're here on a day that I really believe that your mom spoke some things into you and your son, or her sons, both of her sons, into you guys, and she spoke legacy into you. And I really believe that me being here as a representative of mothers globally is just an indication that your mom's prayer was answered for you. I'm a praying woman. I'm sure she was a praying woman. And I really believe that she prayed for both of you guys, and that you guys are literally carrying that baton on. And so I just want to say that you are well loved by your mother. I don't know who she is, but I saw the love in her eyes. You guys are doing a really great job, and I'm super proud of you for her and beyond, on behalf of all the mothers around the world.
Thank you. Well, you're helping me be a better husband, a better father. My wife Beth is an amazing mom, and I learned how to be a really great husband and father from my mom and my dad, Bill. My dad's in Florida, and I wish that I could. He's going to watch this, and he will have tissues. And Dad, please have some tissues. Because we are an emotional family. And that's why I think that we are connected. And thank you for saying all those things. You really made me feel special and
Thank
loved.
you so much. And this is what we do, Adam. One of the things we say with our family is to live the life you want to be remembered for. So I hope everybody does just that.
We're going to end it at that. I love that. Thanks, EmmaSara. Thank you.